I was actually already enrolled in one of the main classes for the major, and my teacher kind of suggested that we look into the other classes to see if it was something that we were interested in, because we were already in the process of completing it without knowing that. Yeah, and I looked at a few of the courses, and then I realized that the courses that I was already enrolled in the major for were the courses that I loved the most, so I figured why not finish it and go through with it.
For my very first semester, I had Miss Marguerite Kathwaroon, which was the coordinator of the gender studies, and she recommended me to join the gender studies since she noticed how passionate I was.
I found out about the major through your class. You mentioned it in class once, I think, and I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. So I was like, let me look it up, let me see what it's like. So I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's actually pretty interesting, especially since I'm in health. And I feel like people don't talk about other issues, even though like race or gender or sexuality is very important in the health domains too.
I really wanted to take classes that I was genuinely interested in. So for me, taking a humanities course where we're discussing ethics in general compared to taking a humanities course where we're discussing gender and equality and intersectionality and stuff like that, to me, I gravitated naturally towards it. So it felt like there was more meaning in my studies rather than just grades.
All the classes were like so interesting, so I was like, oh, maybe this will help me limit and pick what types of classes I like. I know it's kind of a weird answer, but...
My aspect on feminism and stuff like that that I had from when I was around 12 years old was always from like the point of view of the woman, and it was nice to kind of get more of a well-rounded perspective.
Given that I'm from the Philippines, I really saw a lot of stuff that should not be happening, and I guess it helped me a lot to rethink about the issue.
So last semester I took Lovers and Fighters. And at first I wasn't sure, because I was placed in the class, and I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, a class about men. I wasn't sure what it was going to be like, but it was actually really interesting because it talked about like difficulties that men face in relation to the society that they live in.
Well, short-term plans are obviously going to John Molson, getting my finance degree, and hopefully exceeding expectations within that field of study.
Something in the health field with kids and women's and gender studies could for sure help me with that, because everyone has a gender, so like no matter what you're doing, then for any job where you're working with people, then it's very good because it helps you interact with people and just be more sensitive to what everyone's going through.
I'm going to go to university, and I'm hoping to get in a program that allows me to help the youth in need.
You learn about how to interact with people and how people interact with each other and why. Because once again, it's not something that you think, like you wake up in the morning and say, I should learn how to communicate today, but it's kind of something you learn through experience.
Like, I'll be able to actually interact better with people that I work with, because within the diversification of the industries and stuff like that, I will be working with people who have different life paths as mine.
Everyone says that CHEP is really about experimenting, but it really is. So like take all the classes you can, take different types of classes, and you'll see what you like.
For the new Vanier students, I would recommend you guys to get in the gender studies and explore.
And my advice for new Vanier students would be to really just enroll in a major, in the sense that even if it's not necessarily this one and it's not women's and gender studies, I would say find one that fits for you and just test it out, do a few courses, because at the end of the day, it doesn't add to your course load. You might like the classes more, and it adds to your CV and it adds to your understanding of the world. So I don't really see any negatives, but like I said, find the one that works for you and go with it.